Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Emily, can you hear me?
Yeah, it is. It's on. Yep. Just gotta be close.
Okay. All right.
You got it.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. This is going to be a fun event, and I am very honored to be here and talk about what we've done in Idaho in the past and what we're going to do in the future. I particularly want to thank the students and the supporters of women's sports that are here, and I especially want to thank Riley Gaines. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I am particularly proud that Idaho was the first state in the country to pass a bill defending women's sports back in 2020. And I was the first governor in the nation to sign it into law. Our efforts to defend women's sports are rooted in some very basic fundamental truths. First, biological males, men and boys, have physical differences that give them an unfair advantage when competing with women and girls. Riley knows firsthand, and we'll speak about that in a moment. Second, Title IX was signed into law in 1972 to provide fairness for female athletes in our country, and generations of women and men have worked hard to promote and advance women's sports in society. It literally has changed America and opportunities for women. First, can I get a show of hands for the women and girls here today, and how many of you are athletes? Raise your hands. Very good. These women and girls raising their hands work so hard to better themselves in their chosen sport. Some of them started playing sports since they were toddlers. These girls and women and their families dedicate their time, passion, and often their money to improve their skills to compete and win. That is why it is so important for us as a state to do all we can to protect and defend women's sports. Say it with me. Idaho stands with female athletes.
Idaho stands for female athletes.
Good job. The Biden-Harris administration's radical redefinition of gender in the new 1,500-page rewrite of Title IX rules will jeopardize the great work we have done here in Idaho to protect our female students. By contrast, as the least regulated state in the country, Idaho has continued to cut red tape and will continue to push the Biden-Harris administration to follow our lead rather than saddling states with foolish rules. Today, I'm proud to announce that Idaho is continuing to lead the fight in defending women's sports. In a moment, I will sign a new executive order directing the Idaho's State Department of Education to first ensure Idaho public schools are following all of Idaho's laws related to fairness in women's sports, and continue to update all public schools as the legal challenges to the new Title IX rules unfold. Second, to guarantee every female student athlete in Idaho is provided an equal opportunity in sports and school to the fullest extent, as guaranteed to them under the original Title IX rules and Idaho law. Before I sign this order, I would very much like to introduce our special guest, Riley Gaines. Riley is a leader in defending women's sports, advocating for equity and fairness, and standing up for women's safety, privacy, and equal opportunity. She graduated from the University of Kentucky, where she was a 12-time All-American swimmer. Riley has made waves. I'm really cute. For speaking out after tying University of Penn's Leah Thomas, a biological male swimmer, on the women's team, at the 2022 NCAA Division I Women's Swimming and Diving Championship. Riley has become one of the most powerful voices to speak out and defend female athletes. Shortly after graduating, Riley joined Independent Women's Forum, the leading women's organization making real and lasting changes. Please welcome Riley Gaines.
Well, thank you guys. I am thrilled to be in the great state of Idaho. It's amazing that really we have these legislators here. We have Governor Little. This was the first state to ultimately pass some sort of fairness in women's sports law. So to be here now, where Governor Little is about to sign an executive order, is really special. I'm just here to provide a little context as to why this is important. We hear all the time, I'm sure the legislators up here heard it when this was being argued in this Capitol, that this is a solution in search of a problem. This isn't really happening. I'm here to tell you that it is happening. It's happening here in the state of Idaho. It's happening around the country. Every state, every level, every division, every single sport. I, as a collegiate swimmer, you heard, competed against Leah Thomas, a 6'4" man who previously competed 3 years on the men's team at UPenn before deciding to switch to the women's team. I can wholeheartedly attest to the unfair competition, to the tears that I saw from not just the moms in the stands watching as their daughters are being obliterated in the sport that they once loved, but the tears from the girls who placed 9th and 17th and missed out on being named an All-American by 1 place. I can wholeheartedly attest to the extreme discomfort in the locker room. When you turn around, you're putting your racing suit on, which takes about 15-20 minutes to really poke and prod yourself into, 15 to 20 minutes of which you're fully exposed. Putting your suit on, and all of a sudden you hear a man's voice in that locker room. And you turn around, you quite literally have to look up because he's towering over every girl in that changing space. And there's a man undressing inches away from where you were simultaneously fully unclothed. I can wholeheartedly attest to the whispers, because that's what they were. They were whispers of anger and frustration from girls who, just like myself, had worked and competed, practiced, sacrificed our whole entire lives to get to that meet. Now a little bit of context on what this executive order is, what it does. You heard from Governor Little that the Biden-Harris administration has effectively rewritten Title IX, the federal civil rights law enacted in 1972 that at one point prevented sex-based discrimination on any educational program that received federal funding. Now, I strategically said at one point because Title IX is no more. The Biden-Harris administration has effectively abolished Title IX in its original intent. Now what this rewrite says, you heard it, it's 1,500 pages long. Keep in mind, in its original implementation, it was only 37 words, very brief, a paragraph. Now it's almost 500,000 words. That should tell you everything that you need to know. But in short, what this rewrite does, it allows men to take academic and athletic scholarships away from women. It allows men full access into bathrooms, locker rooms, changing spaces on college campuses. Your speech would be compelled. You would now be forced to use biologically incorrect pronouns. And if you don't, if you or your daughter, your 17-year-old daughter who goes off to college away from her family for the first time, if she's housed with a male in her dorm room and she merely goes to her administration and requests a new roommate, she would be guilty and charged with sexual harassment. Not the man parading around her locker room. No, to President Biden and to his VP, that's considered brave and inspiring. He said it many times, but you calling a spade is grounds for sexual harassment. But I am thrilled to be here today with these legislators, with Governor Little, to say that Idaho will not comply. There have been few states, very few leaders who are willing to take this decisive action, forceful action, which blows my mind. To me, this is common sense. This isn't meant to be partisan. This isn't meant to be discriminatory towards anyone. No, our message here today, this is not a message that is anti-anything. This message is pro-fairness. It is pro-safety. It is pro-transparency. This message is pro-woman. I also was thrilled to see all of the athletes, both male and female, here. It's revitalizing. Myself, I'm done competing. This isn't about me. It's not about any sort of personal ladder that I'm trying to climb. This is why we fight. These young girls, these young boys, it's their future that's at stake, which is why I'm thrilled to be here. I have the honor of introducing the next guest. She is someone who I've gotten to know over the past 2 years since being involved in this fight. And I proudly, most of you know her as Representative Barbara Ehardt. I know her as Coach Barbara Ehardt. She is someone who is fierce, she is relentless, she's unapologetic and stating the simple biological truth that men and women are different. I thank her, I thank Senator Souza as well for their lead here in the state of Idaho. And so Coach Barb, thank you for being, you've been a coach for many years in your professional capacity, but she's been our coach in this fight as well. And so we love you and we appreciate you.
Wow. Let me just say I so appreciate that. I appreciate you guys being here. You know, when I started this journey, it was in 2018. And it took 2 years to bring this legislation forward because it was not easy. No one had done it before. And every time I turned around, I was told it couldn't be done until we finally did it. And, you know, courage begets courage. When we first brought it, and it was in House State Affairs, I think we had 3 people on our side testify, 3. And we had 2 days of testimony filled with the other side. And I'll tell you, every time I travel to a state house now to testify, every time we go somewhere, half of the audience is on our side because courage begets courage and more people are willing to speak out. The first thing that I need to do, and taking just a few moments here, Governor Little doesn't know this. He hasn't been to all the state houses where I've been blessed to testify and push for their legislation like ours. But I have acknowledged him over and over for having had the courage. I think I had the vision because I was a Division I athlete. I played basketball at Idaho State, and then I coached Division I basketball for 15 years. I could see this on the horizon. I was following what was happening with the Connecticut gals. And somewhere our House leadership got on, you know, at that time, Speaker Bedke and House Majority Leader Moyle, and I see Leader Monks and also Brett Crane and others. They got on board, but ultimately, once we passed it and Siney died, what you probably don't realize is the entire nation, with ads, with campaigns, they descended on Idaho to try to get Governor Little to say no. And I don't know, this is during the COVID shutdown, I don't know how he withstood the pressure, but he did not say no. He said yes, and he deserves all the credit for having said yes. And I applaud him for that. And now, as we go forward, I said at the time that this legislation was headed to the Supreme Court. It's on its way now in conjunction with West Virginia. And now we pass that baton to our AG, Raul Labrador, and a lot's going to rest on them. But I have faith that we're going to be able to get that done, and that Idaho will continue to be the one to set the standard. You know, let me finish with this. Title IX changed my life. In 1972, I was 8 years old. Life was very different for women back then. You probably aren't my age. You don't understand. People would ask me, what do you want to do when you grow up? I literally would tell people that I wanted to play sports, and I was told that's not what girls do. And so I held on to my dreams. Not only did I get to play, I got to play Division I basketball on a scholarship, and then I got to embark on a 15-year coaching career for fantastic institutions. And we made the world better for those female athletes, those girls and women who are following us. Things got better, opportunities. I mean, we were just happy to get on a yellow bus and wear the hand-me-down uniforms of the boys. That's what we had. And things changed, but I'm telling you, it's going backwards. So what Governor Little is doing today And all of you being here continues to send a message that you're not going to bully us, you're not going to intimidate us. We're going to stand up for the rights of girls and women, not just in sports, but in all things related to Title IX rewrite. Idaho will obey Idaho laws, and Governor Little, for that, I thank you sincerely. Thank you so very much.
You wonder why they call her coach. With that, I will sign an official proclamation for the office of the governor. I've already told you what's in it, so I won't give you the joy of listening to it all again, because I'm a succinct, low regulation person. There we go. Thanks, Coach.
Okay, and let's get a video. We're going to say Idaho stands with women's sports. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Idaho stands with women's sports.
Thanks for coming out, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And if you want to hear more about Riley Gaines, we do have an event tonight with Riley Gaines. IdahoMajorityClub.com. You can get your tickets there. The students, you guys got your free ticket. You got the shirt, you're good. So IdahoMajorityClub.com. Buy your ticket. We're going to support her all the way through.